What is happening, everybody? My name's Seven and welcome back to a brand new Fortnite video. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and consider subscribing. Let's get the channel to 50,000 subscribers. Now, I'll be going away to Amsterdam for a couple of days, but don't worry if I don't upload tomorrow, I'll be back straight onto my normal schedule. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at a bunch of different tips. Now, I know a lot of you are like, oh, I can't listen to this guy's tips because he doesn't have an umbrella. I actually had it in squads well before I even made videos on Fortnite, but I don't really play solo that much. But hey, I decided I'd play a game in solo and really try hard, and I won my first game today. So let's take a look at tip number 10. I hope that you enjoy these and it all helps very much. Now, number 10 is about landing in an area where you're confident you're going to find chests, because of course chests are going to be the perfect starting point to the game. If you don't get the good weapons at the start of the game, you're going to struggle throughout the entire battle royale, because you're just going to be limited, and you'll have other players that will be able to do extra damage. They'll be able to mobilize around the map a lot better. They're just going to perform better as players for as long as they've got equal accuracy to yourself. Now, this is Moisty Mire. This is one of the locations. If you want to go and see a bunch of locations, I'll be doing more videos on some places I haven't mentioned, but I also have mentioned other ones in other videos that you might have already seen. But if you haven't, go check those out, because this is one of the places where you can get 3 spawn chests, which is absolutely incredible. And as you can see, I got a bunch of different weapons there, including an epic. Number 9 is associated to number 10 in a certain way. If you decide that you don't want to land out in the sticks somewhere, you want to land somewhere in a city, you want to make sure that you land on like the rooftops of wherever you're landing. So whether this is a house or a shopping mall or wherever it may be, make sure you land on the roof, collect any weapons you can see on the roof if there is one, and then make sure that you learn a looting pattern. So I've mastered this looting pattern for Greasy Grove. It's absolutely awesome, and it's gave me a really good start to the game. Now, a lot of people do these looting patterns that I've been teaching people, and you get loads of shield potions. Like, some guys have even done what I've just done here in the background and got 5 potions. Like, no joke, that has happened. Of course, you only need 2, so if you're playing in squads, then there you go, you've already got 2.5 teammates with shields. So definitely learn a looting pattern, and whenever you do land in a city or anywhere with houses or buildings, make sure you land on the roof, because that is the location where a lot of chests are going to spawn, in the actual attic of every single building out there. So definitely do it. Now, when I left the Greasy Grove market, I was getting shot at pretty much straight away, as expected. This was a really heated location. The bus flew directly over here. So when I was moving around in the area, I was trying to spot where players were. I seen a player in the distance, and I realized that I didn't have the correct range or the positioning. And so what you want to always do is consider the range and use the correct weapon for that range. If you're in houses having conflict with somebody, you always want to try and use weapons like shotguns in close range in houses like this one. So this guy is using an assault rifle against me, but the higher damage at close range with my shotgun basically puts him to the grave, as well as this other guy that I found in the house as well. Whereas if I'd been using maybe a submachine gun or an assault rifle, I would have been at a massive disadvantage. So always think about the range and think whether, okay, maybe I can use the AR here, maybe I should use the shotgun, maybe it's that far away, I need to use a shot, like a sniper rifle, for example. So always make sure that you have the correct weapon to match the range of your enemy. Tip number 7 is a massive one. If you don't have a headset of any sort, or you just don't have very loud game sound, and it's not directly over your ears, like through a headset, for example, or through some form of earpiece, if it's through the speakers, you're going to be at a massive disadvantage, because these footsteps are so crucial. They help you spot enemies really easily. You can walk around the outskirts of a building, or even crouch and just slowly, steadily move around, and you can pretty much quickly assess whether there's an enemy inside. Now, I spotted that there was an enemy in here prior anyway, so I already knew that, but you can genuinely hear them as they were moving around, including players that were trying to also advance on the house as well. So footsteps are one of the biggest things, and it just helps so much to at least know where your enemy is at without even having to see them. It's also something allowing you to mentally plan your next steps as a fighter. You can kind of decide, okay, well, I'm going to go here next, I'm going to go here next, etc., because you've heard footsteps from multiple directions and been able to utilize that information. We all know that there are numerous barriers that kind of push us inwards, and if we're caught in this barrier, it causes damage to us and we die. You want to bait people using this barrier. So when it gets close to the barrier moving inwards, a lot of people in cities or anywhere close to the barrier will start running and get that early run into the zone. Now, if you play it correctly, you'll be able to get the advantage on a bunch of people. So I got a kill of the guy leaving Greasy Grove. I played very patiently around Greasy Grove, and I figured pretty quickly that there was a bunch of people that had already left. He was pretty much against the final guy there, so I was confident in moving out myself. And as moving outwards, as I just got onto the border, these guys weren't even paying attention to others coming in, so they weren't even really using the barrier to their advantage at all. As you can see, they were kind of having their own fight and not really thinking about anything else. So I walk in and get 2 free easy kills, whereas if they'd actually paid attention to the barrier, they would have been able to pick me off, because I would have just walked straight into them while they were sat just waiting for me to you know, to die in their hands basically. Tip 5 links in with tip 6. You don't want to be a player that gets so focused on a gunfight that you don't pay attention to what's going on around you. Now, I decided, and I was very much paranoid about this, about what was behind me. I knew the barrier just came in. I knew there wasn't that long until the next barrier actually compressed inwards, but I wanted to make sure that my back was clear. Now, I noticed pretty quickly that this player was somehow behind me, and I don't know how, because I was so patient and I was taking my time, and I was playing like a very paranoid player, let's say, because I was checking always behind me. But this one player somehow snuck in and got behind me, so I made sure that I picked them off before I advanced on forwards. They had zero knowledge that I was here, and if I had like gave my position away by playing too aggressive, then I would have definitely died, and I would have lost the fact of like playing and outsmarting this individual. Like, okay, he thought, well, nobody's going to be here because the zone's like a minute away, so I'm probably going to die if I stay here, so nobody else will be here. But guess what? I was, and I got the kill. Supply drops and duos recently came to the game, and they are so good. I love playing duos and I love going for supply drops. I've got videos and things planned for supply drops, but there's one problem with it. Towards the back end of the game, you will find that a lot of supply drops start dropping, and the best thing to do with these, if one doesn't land directly in front of you, it's pretty much not worth going for unless you know that you're going to be clear. This player was able to just be used as bait. Now, he also had shield, so this player would have been in a really good position to actually win the game, but he got too greedy. So definitely don't get too greedy. Don't go after the you know, the actual supply drops unless you have to. You can use the supply drops if you aren't going for it as bait, because somebody out there definitely will. And as you can see, I got an easy kill, and I was able to turn around and then check the barrier, and this poor player coming in just had no chance, you know. And then at the same time, using this whole strategy, I was able to spot that there was somebody to my left hand side, allowing me to move into the next tip. Now, tip number 3 is about taking your time. A lot of people will say, oh, you're camping, you're not playing really aggressive. It honestly doesn't matter, because towards the back end of the game, things get very tense, and you can't just run around like you do in the main game, where you've got so much space and so much area that you can like just roam around in and loot in. Towards the back end of the game, where the zones are pushed really far in, you know, you are pretty much like right next to each other, and you have no idea unless you take your time and mark up the enemies, which will be led into the next tip. But as you can see from here, I'm just moving from cover to cover, and I'm literally checking everything I possibly can, whether it's the hills, the buildings, or the tree line in the distance. You need to utilize the fact that you have some time, and don't panic. You know, yes, it might say you've got 30 seconds or you've got a minute or whatever until you have to move. Use this time correctly, because a lot of other players, it's almost like chicken. A lot of them will bail before you do, and then at least you get to spot them as they're moving into the zone. Tip number 2 is a combination of everything I've said prior to this tip. You need to use everything I've already just taught you in this video to mark up players. So this is playing strategically. It's not about getting your guns out and trying to absolutely slaughter everyone. Unless you have no choice and have to get into a conflict, at this point you want to mentally place an image in your mind. I know there's one player on a cliff, I know the other one's in the building, and then you know how to play, because you know the areas they're going to be in and where to avoid. Now at this point, I was spending some time trying to mark up, and I could hear some building, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I quickly figured there was a guy above me, and he was also looking at the cliff edge. Unfortunately, I panicked and missed the first shot, but thankfully I got the second, and I cleaned out the kill. But it left me in a 1v1 situation where now obviously the gunshots are being heard by the other player, and he's going to have a better advantage of now spotting roughly where I am at. So I have to get out of that situation, move into a better place, and then once again go through everything again. Try and take my time and mark up the enemy. In this 1v1, this player had no idea where I was. I managed to get out of the sticky situation in the prior conflict that I just had, and as you can see, this player is looking around all over the place and has no idea where I'm at. But there's no point in taking a shot. I was considering, you know, maybe using the sniper, trying to get a one-shot kill, maybe, you know, taking some shield off and then having a gun, you know, conflict. But when I was zooming in, I pretty quickly spotted that he had a better assault rifle than me, so I knew pretty much straight away if we got into a conflict, he was going to kill me. So I wasn't confident. I expected him to stay up there, but he moved down towards me anyway, and so I chose the perfect time to shoot. He had no idea that I was coming. He didn't have anything other than just lots of death, and bang, I got the kill very, very quickly. So I hope all of these tips have really helped you all. I really hope that a lot of you start winning more, and I will start getting more wins if this is what you want to see. If you want to see more gameplays, etc., I'm down for doing that. Just let me know in the comment section below, and definitely take up every single tip and fire away your own in the comments, because I might make a follow-up to this when I get my next win. Thank you for watching. My name's been Seven, also known as Martin Lee Woods. Like and comment on all that you love. Peace.